Chapter 19. The two angels came to Sodom at evening. Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. Lot saw them and rose to meet them. He bowed himself with his face to the earth. He said, "Let now, my lords, please turn aside into your servant's house. Stay all night. Wash your feet, and you can rise up early and go on your way." They said, "No, but we will stay in the street all night." He urged them greatly, and they came in with him and entered into his house. He made them a feast and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. But before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, surrounded the house, both young and old, all the people from every quarter. They called to Lot and said to him, "Where are the men who came into you this night? Bring them out to us, that we may have sex with them." Lot went out to them to the door and shut the door after him. He said, "Please, my brothers, do not act so wickedly. See now, I have two virgin daughters. Please, let me bring them out to you, and you may do to them what seems good to you. Only do not do anything to these men, because they have come under the shadow of my roof." They said, "Stand back." Then they said, "This one fellow came in to live as a foreigner, and he appoints himself a judge? Now, we will deal worse with you than with them." They pressed hard on the man Lot, and drew near to break the door. But the men put forth their hand and brought Lot into the house with them and shut the door. They struck the men who were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. The men said to Lot, "Do you have anybody else here? Sons-in-laws? Your sons, your daughters, and whoever else in this city? Bring them out of this place, for we will destroy this place, because the outcry against them has grown great before Jehovah, that Jehovah has sent us to destroy it." Lot went out and spoke to his son-in-law, who were pledged to marry his daughters, and said, "Get up, get out of this place, for Jehovah will destroy the city." But he seemed to his sons-in-laws to be joking. When the morning came, then the angels hurried Lot, saying, "Get up, take your wife and your two daughters who are here, lest you be consumed in the iniquity of the city." But he lingered, and the men grabbed his hand, his wife's hand, and his two daughters' hands, and Jehovah being merciful to them, and they took him out and set him outside the city. It came to pass, when they had taken them out, that he said, "Escape for your life. Do not look behind, and do not stay anywhere in the plain. Escape to the mountains, lest you be consumed." Lot said to them, "Oh, not so, my lord. See now, your servant has found favor in your sight, and you have magnified your loving kindness, which you have shown to me in saving my life. I cannot escape to the mountain, lest evil overtake me and I die. See now, the city is near to flee to, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape to there. Is it not a little one? My soul will live." He said to him, "Behold, I have granted your request concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow the city of which you have spoken. Hurry, escape to there, for I cannot do anything until you get out of there." Therefore the name of the city is called Zoar. The sun had risen on the earth when Lot came to Zoar, when Jehovah rained on Sodom and on Gomorrah sulfur and fire from Jehovah out of the sky. He overthrew those cities, all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities, and that which grew on the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. Abraham got up early in the morning to place where he had stood before Jehovah. He looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah and toward all the land of the plain, and looked and saw that the smoke of the land went up as the smoke of a furnace. It happened that when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham and sent Lot out of the middle of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot lived. Lot went up out of Zoar and lived in the mountain, and his two daughters with him, for he was afraid to live in Zoar. He lived in a cave with his two daughters. The firstborn said said to the younger, Our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come into us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve our father's seed. They made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with her father. He did not know when she lay down, nor when she arose. It came to pass on the next day that the firstborn said to the younger, Behold, I lay last night with my father. Let us make him drink wine again tonight. You go in and lie with him, that we may preserve our father's seed. They made their father drink wine that night also. The younger went and lay with him. He did not know when she lay down, nor when she got up. Thus both of Lot's daughters were with child by their father. The firstborn bare a son, and named him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites to this day. The younger also bore a son, and called his name Ben-Ammi. He is the father of the children of Ammon to this day. Chapter 20. Abraham traveled from there towards the land of the south, and lived between Kadesh and Shur. He lived as a foreigner in Gerar. Abraham said about his wife Sarah, She is my sister. Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. But God came to Abimelech in a dream of the night, and said to him, Behold, you are a dead man, because of the woman whom you have taken, for she is a man's wife. But Abimelech had not come near her. He said, Lord, will you kill even a righteous nation? Did not he tell me she is my sister? She herself said, He is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and in the innocence of my hands have I done this. God said to him in the dream, Yes, I know that in the integrity of your heart you have done this, and I also withheld you from sinning against me. Therefore I did not allow you to touch her. Now therefore restore the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you will live. If you do not restore her, know for sure that you will die, you and all that is yours. Abimelech rose early in the morning and called all his servants and told all these things in their ear. The men were very scared. Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, What have you done to us? How have I sinned against you, that you have brought on me and on my kingdom a great sin? You have done deeds to me that ought not to be done. Abimelech said to Abraham, What did you see that you have done this thing? Abraham said, Because I thought surely the fear of God is not in this place. They will kill me for my wife's sake. Besides, she is indeed my sister, the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. It happened when God caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said to her, This is the kindness which you will show to me. Everywhere that we go, say of me, He is my brother. Abimelech took sheep and cattle, male servants and female servants, and gave them to Abraham, and restored Sarah his wife to him. Abimelech said, Behold, my land is before you. Dwell where it pleases you. To Sarah he said, Behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Behold, it is for you a covering of the eyes to all that are with you. In front of all, you are vindicated. Abraham prayed to God. God healed Abimelech and his wife and his female servants, and they bore children. For Jehovah had closed up tight all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. Chapter 21. Jehovah visited Sarah as he had said, and Jehovah said to Sarah as he had spoken. Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which God had spoken to him. Abraham called his son who was born to him, whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, as God had commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son son Isaac was born to him, Sarah said, God has made me laugh. Everyone who hears will laugh with me. She said, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? For I have borne him a son in his old age. The child grew and was weaned. Abraham made a great feast on the day that Isaac was weaned. Sarah saw that the son of Hagar the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, mocking. Therefore she said to Abraham, cast out this handmaid and her son, for the son of this handmaid will not be heir with my son Isaac. The thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight on occasion of his son. God said to Abraham, do not let it be grievous in your sight because of the boy and because of your handmaid. In all that Sarah says to you, listen to her voice, for from Isaac will your seed be called. I will also make a nation of the son of the handmaid, because he is your seed. Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a bottle of water and gave it to Hagar, putting it on her shoulder, and gave her the child and sent her way. She departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. The water in the bottle was spent, and she cast the child under one of the shrubs. She went and sat down opposite him, a good way off, about a bow's shot away. She said, do not let me see the death of the child. She sat over against him and lifted up her voice and wept. God heard the voice of the boy. The angel of God appeared to Hagar out of the sky and said to her, what ails you, Hagar? Do not be afraid, for God has heard the voice of the boy where he is. Get up, lift up the boy, and hold him in your hand, for I will make him a great nation. God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. She went, filled the bottle with water, and gave the boy drink. God was with the boy, and he grew. He lived in the wilderness and became, as he grew up, an archer. He lived in the wilderness of Paran. His mother took a wife for him out of the land of Egypt. It happened at that time that Abimelech and Phicol, the captain of his army, spoke to Abraham, saying, God is with you in all that you do. Now therefore, swear to me here by God that you will not deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son, but because to the kindness that I have done to you, you shall do to me, and to the land in which you have lived as a foreigner. Abraham said, I swear. Abraham complained to Abimelech because of a water well which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away. Abimelech said, I do not know who has done this thing, neither did you tell me, neither did I hear of it until today. Abraham took sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelech. Those two made a covenant. Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. Abimelech said to Abraham, what do these 7 ewe lambs which you have set by themselves mean? He said, you shall take these 7 ewe lambs from my hand, that it may be a witness to me that I have dug this well. Therefore he called the place Beersheba, because they both swore there. So they made a covenant at Beersheba. Abimelech rose up with Phicol, the captain of his army, and they returned into the land of the Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba and called there on the name of Jehovah, the everlasting God. Abraham lived as a foreigner in the land of the Philistines many days. Chapter 22. It happened after these things that God tested Abraham and said to him, Abraham, he said, Here I am. He said, Now take your son, your only son, whom you love, even Isaac, and go into the land of Moriah. Offer him there for a burnt offering on one of the mountains which I will tell you of. Abraham rose early in the morning and saddled his donkey and took 2 of his young men with him and Isaac his son. He split the wood for the burnt offering and rose up and went to the place which God had told him. On the 3rd day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place far off. Abraham said to his young men, Stay here with the donkey. The boy and I will go yonder. We will worship and come back to you. Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on Isaac his son. He took in his hand the fire and the knife. They both went together. Isaac spoke to Abraham his father and said, "My father?" He said, "Here I am, my son." He said, "Here is the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" Abraham said, "God will provide himself the lamb for the burnt offering, my son." So they both went together. They came to the place which God had told him of. Abraham built the altar there, and laid the wood in order, bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar on the wood. Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took the knife to kill his son. But the angel of Jehovah called out to him of the sky and said, "Abraham, Abraham." He said, "Here I am." He said, "Do not lay a hand on the boy, neither do anything to him. For now I know that you fear God, seeing you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me." Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and saw that behind him a ram caught in the thicket by its horns. Abraham went and took the ram, and offered him up for a burnt offering instead of his son. Abraham called the name of that place, "Jehovah will provide." As it is said to this day, "On Jehovah's mountain it will be provided." The angel of Jehovah called to Abraham a second time out of the sky, and said, "I have sworn by myself, says Jehovah, because you have done this thing, and have not withheld your son, your only son, that I will bless you greatly, and I will multiply your seed greatly, like the stars of the heavens, like the sand which is on the seashore. Your seed will possess the gates of his enemies. In your seed will all the nations of the earth be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice." So Abraham returned to his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba. Abraham lived in Beersheba. It happened after these things that it was told to Abraham, "Behold, Milcah, she also has borne children to your brother Nahor. Uz, his firstborn, Buz, his brother, Camil, the father of Aram, Chest, Hazo, Fildash, Yidlaph, and Butiel. Butiel became the father of Rivkah. These 8 Milcah bore to Nahor, Abraham's brother. His concubine, whose name was Reumah, also bore Tebah, Gaham, Tahash, and Ma'akah. Chapter 23. Sarah lived 127 years. This was the length of Sarah's life. Sarah died in Kiriath Arba, the same as Hebron, in the land of Canaan. Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and wept for her. Abraham rose up from before his dead and spoke to the children of Heth, saying, "I am a stranger and a foreigner living with you. Give me a possession of a burying place with you, that I might bury my dead out of my sight." The children of Heth answered Abraham, saying to him, "Hear us, my lord. You are a prince of God among us. Bury your dead in the best of our tombs. None of us will withhold from you his tomb. Bury your dead." Abraham rose up and bowed himself to the people of the land, even to the children of Heth. He talked with them, saying, "If it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me, and entreat me to Ephron, the son of Zohar, that he might give me the cave of Machpelah, which he has, which is in the end of his field. For the full price let him give it to me among you for a possession of a burying place." Now Ephron was sitting in the middle of the children of Heth. Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the hearing of the children of Heth, even of all who went in at the gate of his city, saying, "No, my lord, hear me. I give you the field, and I give you the cave that is in it. In the presence of the children of my people, I give it to you. Bury your dead." Abraham bowed himself down before the people of the land. He spoke to Ephron in the audience of the people of the land, saying, "But if you will, please hear me. I will give the price of the field. Take it from me. I will bury my dead there." Ephron answered Abraham, saying to him, "My lord, listen to me. What is a piece of land worth 400 shekels of silver between you and me? Therefore bury your dead. Abraham listened to Ephron. Abraham weighed to Ephron the silver that he had named in the audience of the children of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, according to the current merchant's standard. So the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field, the cave which was in it, and all the trees that were in the field, that were in all its borders, were deeded to Abraham for a possession in the presence of the children of Heth, before all who went in at the gate of his city. After this, Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah, before Mamre, that is, Hebron, in the land of Canaan. The field and the cave that is in it were deeded to Abraham for a possession of a buying place for the children of Heth. Chapter 24. Abraham was old and well stricken in age. Jehovah had blessed Abraham in all things. Abraham said to his servant, the elder of his house who ruled over all that he had, please put your hand under my thigh. I will make you swear by Jehovah, God of heaven and God of earth, that you shall not take a wife for my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I live, but you shall go to my country and to my relatives and take a wife for my son Isaac. The servant said to him, what if the woman is not willing to follow me to this land? Must I bring your son again to the land you came from? Abraham said to him, beware that you do not bring my son there again. Jehovah God of heaven, who took me from my father's house and from the land of my birth, who spoke to me and swore to me, saying, I will give this land to you and your seed. He will send his angel before you, and you shall take a wife for my son from there. If the woman is not willing to follow you, then you shall be clear from this my oath. Only you shall not bring my son there again. The servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and swore to him concerning this matter. The servant took 10 camels of his master's camels, and departed, having a variety of good things of his master with him. He arose and went to Mesopotamia, the city of Nahor. He made the camels kneel down outside the city by the well of water at the time of evening, the time that women go out to draw water. He said, Jehovah, God of my master Abraham, please give me success this day, and show kindness to my master Abraham. Behold, I am standing by the spring of water. The daughters of the men of the city are coming out to draw water. Let it happen that the young lady whom I say, please, let down your pitcher, that I might drink, that she will say, drink, and I will also give your camels a drink. Let her be the one you have appointed for your servant Isaac. By this I will know that you have shown kindness to my master. It happened before he had finished speaking that, behold, Rebekah came out, who was born to Bethuel, the son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother. With her pitcher on her shoulder, the young lady was very beautiful to look at. A virgin, neither had any man known her. She went down to the spring, filled her pitcher, and came up. The servant ran to meet her and said, please, give me a drink, a little water from your pitcher. She said, drink, my lord. She hurried and let down her pitcher on her hand and gave him drink. When she had done giving him drink, she said, I will also draw for your camels until they have done drinking. She hurried and emptied her pitcher into the trough, and ran again to the well to draw, and drew for all his camels. The man looked steadfastly at her, remaining silent, to know whether Jehovah had made his journey prosperous or not. It happened, as the camels had done drinking, that the man took a golden ring of 1/2 shekel weight, and 2 bracelets for her hands of 10 shekels weight of gold, and said, whose daughter are you? Please tell me, is there room in your father's house for us to lodge in? She said to him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, whom she bore to Nahor. She said moreover to him, we have both straw and provender enough, and room to lodge in. The man bowed his head and worshipped Jehovah. He said, blessed be Jehovah, God of my master Abraham, who has not forsaken his loving kindness and his truth towards my master. As for me, Jehovah has led me in the way to the house of my master's relatives." The young lady ran and told her mother's house about these words. Rebekah had a brother, and his name was Laban. Laban ran out to the man to the spring. It happened when he saw the ring and the bracelets on his sister's hands, when he heard the words of Rebekah his sister, saying, "This is what the man said to me," that he came to the man. Behold, he was standing by the camels at the spring. He said, "Come in, you blessed of Jehovah. Why do you stand outside? For I have prepared the house and room for the camels." The man came into the house, and he unloaded the camels. He gave straw and provender for the camels, and water to wash his feet and the men who were with him. Food was set before him to eat, but he said, "I will not eat until I have told my message." He said, "Speak." He said, "I am Abraham's servant. Jehovah has blessed my master greatly. He has become great. He has given him flocks and herds, silver and gold, male servants and female servants, and camels and donkeys. Sarah, my master's wife, bore a son to my master when she was old. He has given all that he has to him. My master made me swear, saying, 'You shall not take a wife for my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I live, but you shall go to my father's house and to my relatives, and take a wife for my son.' I asked my master, 'What if the woman will not follow me?' And he said, 'Jehovah before whom I walk will send his angel with you, and prosper your way. You will take a wife for my son of my relatives and of my father's house. Then you will be clear from my oath. When you come to my relatives, if they do not give you her, you shall be clear from my oath.' I came this day to the spring and said, 'Jehovah, God of my master Abraham, if now you do prosper my way which I go, behold, I'm standing by this spring of water. Let it happen that the maiden who comes forth to draw, to whom I will say, "Give me, I pray you, a little water from your pitcher to drink," and she will tell me, "Drink, and I will also draw for your camels." Let her be the woman whom Jehovah has appointed for my master's son." Before I had finished speaking in my heart, behold, Rebekah came forth with her pitcher on her shoulder. She went down to the spring and drew. I said to her, "Please, let me drink." She hurried and let down her pitcher from her shoulder and said, "Drink, and I will also give your camels a drink." So I drank, and she also gave the camels a drink. I asked her and said, "Whose daughter are you?" And she said, "The daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bore to him." I put the ring on her nose and the bracelets on her hands. I bowed my head and worshipped Jehovah and blessed Jehovah, God of my master Abraham, who had led me in the way to take my master's brother's daughter for his son. Now if you will deal kindly and truly with my master, tell me. If not, tell me, that I may turn to the right hand or to the left." Then Laban, Bethuel, answered, "The thing proceeds from Jehovah. We cannot speak to you bad or good. Behold, Rebekah is before you. Take her and go, and let her be your master's son's wife, as Jehovah has spoken." It happened that when Abraham's servant heard these words, he bowed himself down to the earth to Jehovah. The servant brought forth jewels of silver and jewels of gold and clothing, and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave precious things to her brother and her mother. They ate and drank, he and the men who were with him, and stayed all night. They rose up in the morning, and he said, "Send me away to my master." Her brother and her mother said, "Let the young lady stay with us a few days, at least 10. After that she will go." He said to them, "Do not hinder me, seeing Jehovah has prospered my way. Send me away that I may go to my master." They said, "We will call the young lady and ask her." They called Rebekah and said to her, "Will you go with this man?" And she said, "I will go." They sent away Rebekah their sister with her nurse, Abraham's servant and his men. They blessed Rebekah and said to her, "Our sister, may you be the mother of thousands of 10,000s, and let your seed possess the gates of those who hate them." Rebekah arose with her ladies. They rode on the camels and followed the man. The servant took Rebekah and went his way. Isaac came from the way of Beer Lahai Roi, for they lived in the land of the south. Isaac went out to meditate in the field at evening. He lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, there came camels coming. Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she dismounted from the camel. She said to the servant, "Who is the man? Who is walking in the field to meet us?" The servant said, "That is my master." So she took her veil and she covered herself. The servant told Isaac all the things that he had done. Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, and she became his wife. He loved her. Isaac was comforted after his mother's death.